There's a push right now in a lot of states to restrict the use of cell phones in school classrooms. And not just because they're distracting when they go off or maybe buzz in the middle of class or a test, but the idea that too much screen time can actually lead to negative mental health outcomes. One Wisconsin lawmaker wants this to be the last school year that begins with cell phones in the classroom. That is State Senator Dan Knodl, who joins me now to discuss it further. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Dave. Good to be with you.
I can stay State Senator for what, a few more months? And then maybe in November your title may go back to Assemblyman, right? Is that where we're at?
That's exactly right. I'll be the sitting senator for the 8th Senate District till January when the new people are sworn in, and perhaps I'll be on that list to be sworn in back to the State Assembly, District 24.
That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Important topic,
right.
Don't misunderstand me, but again, we could talk for 74 hours and I think not cover everything that's going into why you're a state senator and might be back in the Assembly, but again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, let's focus on local schools. They do set their own rules for cell phone use in the classroom. In fact, some school districts have a district-wide policy, while others kind of allow the principals in individual schools to set their own rules. Why should state government get involved in this issue?
Well, our concern with state government is heavily involved in education statewide. It's a state government that is mandated constitutionally to provide education, K-12. And we want to have consistent policy throughout the state. In this particular case, there are districts that have gone forward, and I applaud them for it, that have put cell phone restrictions in place. However, that is not consistent across the state, and that would be the goal, is to have some consistency throughout the state, and at least a mandate minimum, that there's not going to be cell phones in a student's hands when it comes to instructional time in the classroom.
You're right. There is some inconsistency. As an example, the West Allis, West Milwaukee School District banned cell phones in classes at the start of the 2022-23 school year. But Waukesha schools do allow students to bring phones to school, but say they have to be stored out of sight during classes. I don't know what that means, leave them in their lockers, but they can't have them with them in the classroom. So yes, it's a problem. Cell phones in school are clearly a problem. And to be clear, Wisconsin would not be the first state to adopt this legislation if it does become reality. In fact, quite a few states already have passed laws that limit cell phone use in school, doesn't it, Senator?
Yes, and we look at Florida, Indiana have taken these measures, among other states. So we would look at those policies, and if there is some time that has elapsed since they put those policies in place, see what the results are. We also have to look at enforcement of any policies that would be mandated by the state, because can be of no effect if the state lays down a mandate, but there's no enforcement behind it.
Exactly. How do you force a student to follow the rule mean? And I guess what would the
I just would want to be as broad-based as
repercussions be if they don't, and who would enforce that? What is that?
possible.
Otherwise, the fire department will come and take you away, I guess.
Yes, the fire department might be on call for that.
See, I can tell the difference between a police car and a fire truck. I've heard enough of those over the years to know that's a fire truck, isn't it?
That is a fire truck, and we are now in the clear again.
Excellent, excellent.
Sure. Well, you're gonna the local districts and right down to the principal and the teacher in the classroom are going to have to be the ones to enforce things, and it's really just keeping proper decorum in the classroom, which they're charged with doing already. So it would be the follow through would have to be there right at the classroom level, and we would put a policy in place just so there's consistency throughout the state. I would even have concerns about districts to even follow a state mandate at times. We see now with Milwaukee Public Schools are not fully following having law enforcement in the buildings.
Yeah,
so
and that is state law right now, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So we need to have teeth behind it if we are going to go forward and do these type of mandates.
It's one thing to lay down the law, but how do you get buy-in from the students, from, I guess, their parents, too? I know they're not in school when this is happening, but big picture, how do you convince, in this case, predominantly teenagers, to put their phones down when they should be learning?
Sure. From the initial contact I've had with superintendents, parents, even some students, is that their students are okay with it. Again, a consistent policy is beneficial to people at young ages, and they need to have the discipline